Well, welcome back to Between Dollars and Dreams with the TF team. Last week, or last episode, I should say, David introduced the lovely and talented Laura Van Dat, and I was so impressed by her, so I asked her to come back again and maybe drill down a bit more about buying your first home. So, Laura, tell us a bit about yourself and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pierre. My name is Laura. I am a real estate agent, primarily working in the Hamilton market. I work in a lot of other areas, but I do focus in Hamilton. And I love what I do. I love being a resource to people. I love connecting with people. I think there aren't many jobs where you get to become friends with almost everybody you serve after helping them purchase a home. So, yeah, that's...
And that's so vital because buying your first home or any home for that, it's probably going to be the biggest purchase you're going to ever endeavor. And there's so much involved into it. There's so much, I remember, so much anxiety. And the good thing I like about Laura is that she has that warm presence, calming presence. And we at TF team, we're a team and we bring our partners. We're not experts in everything, but we deal with the experts in the various fields. And we're so lucky that our co-host, Dave, actually I shouldn't say found Laura, but brought Laura to our attention, and she's going to try to demystify the whole buying process. So let's kind of jump in. Last time you talked to Dave talked about affordability, and I believe Hamilton is probably a good area, and probably east too. If you go east, to Oshawa, Bowmanville, and so on, affordable. But let's go into your wheelhouse. So what would be an affordable home in Hamilton?
Sure. I'll use an example. I'm working with a first-time buyer right now. His name is Nick. I'm sure he's okay with me using his not a last name. He has a budget of about $500 plus or minus a little bit. We are looking at homes, 3-bedroom homes in a variety of different areas in the lower city of Hamilton. 1 to 2 bedrooms. Like he gets the porch, he gets the backyard, the front yard, a parking spot for approximately, somewhere between $5 and $550. So yeah, that's a pretty decent price point.
That's at $550. What could we get in Toronto? I don't even know what we could get in downtown Toronto. Maybe a garage, but so okay, that sounds great. So your budget could be $550, $650. So what's the next steps now? So I know my budget. So what do I do?
Okay, so there's an assumption there that you've already spoken with somebody at a mortgage, a bank or a mortgage brokerage, and you've given them all of your numbers and you've come out with a budget that you can purchase. The next thing I always suggest doing is going to look at houses in the price range that you're considering, with no expectation of putting an offer, so that you can kind of wrap your head around what you can expect in that price point. Whether you get an updated kitchen or you get larger square footage and a less finished home that you can stay in for a longer period of time and finish as you go. There's a lot of different things that you can, or ways that you can approach that, but we would go look at a couple of houses, come back, reevaluate. And I always mention to my clients, there certainly are things to watch out for as we're looking at these homes. So you, when they're older homes, you may want to watch for knob and tube. You may want to watch for some asbestos. I point those things out as we go without hopefully being overwhelming to the buyer. And then we watch for other big things like the age of the shingles, age of the appliances, the furnace, the air conditioner, and so forth. I think I've gotten somewhat through your question.
No, you've answered it, and
Okay.
and it's really not about the cosmetics. You got to look at the bones, because I know you fall in love with that kitchen, and you've mentioned asbestos, and I know a lot of our listeners are probably not even aware of what asbestos is, and that they used to build homes with that as an insulation. And now it's been proven to cause cancer. So therefore, you want to be sure. And this is where you come into play, right? Where you'll calm me down and say, okay, Pierre, it looks nice, but you know what? Have you thought about this? Let's look at another property. So no. So it's kind of a team approach whereby you've got kind of your advisor that is advising you not just purely on the numbers, but also on the qualitative side, right? So you've mentioned about, you probably need to have mortgage, kind of, pre-approved. So this is kind of the things that we would do. We would assist the clients in terms of figuring out how much they could afford. But is that it? Just the mortgage? Is there additional costs associated with buying a home?
Yes, there absolutely are. Excuse me. I would say there is land transfer tax to be considered. And if you are buying in Toronto, there's land transfer tax times 2. Otherwise, there are legal fees that you're going to pay, probably in the range of $1,500, and then moving. So I always suggest with my clients, once you've hit 30, don't ask your friends to move you. Hire a moving company. Our backs are only good for so long. Certainly worth investing in hiring a professional moving company that has insurance, that does this all the time, that can do it quickly, move you from A to B without having to, damage your friends' backs potentially. Let's see here. And then there's the inspection cost. So one of the things that I always recommend to buyer clients is if we can isolate or identify potential issues when we're looking at a home and exclude that home instead of falling in love with it and putting an offer in on it and then getting an inspection only to find that there was an issue that we really could have discovered beforehand. Save yourself that hassle, the time and the expense. So inspections are usually $600 to $700 for a good inspector, and it's certainly worth investing in that once, hopefully.
Inspection is key. I mean, back in the day, you would purchase a home, without any inspection, without any qualification, because you really wanted that home, only to find that there's a whole bunch of issues afterhand. But so, no, you're definitely absolutely right. So I found my $600,000 home. You've identified, various issues or various costs. So what do you think in terms of kind of the total costs that I need to have saved per se for a $600,000 home?
Oh, okay. So for $600,000 home, most people you could start out with a 5% down. You may want to do 10 or 20%. If you do 20%, you alleviate an additional fee that gets added to your mortgage, the CMHC fee. So let's see here. So 600,000, you're looking at, say, let's use an example of 10%. You want to have about $60,000 pretty liquid, so that when you make an offer that gets accepted. So it's the deposit.
Yeah, so I guess the deposit is kind of to show to the buyer that you're serious, right? So it's not the full 60, so it'll be like $5,000 or $10,000 that you will put down.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the balance of that is paid out when you close on the house.
So we've got the down payment, 60, and then you've mentioned all these other costs, lawyers' fees that you said about $1,500, the inspection, the land transfer tax. So so it's a whole bunch of costs. So maybe factor in another 20 or more? Yeah, 20,000. So it's not probably just the saving for the down payment. So again, before you get into this process, this is something that you would most likely talk to the clients about.
Yeah, and even before you come to an agent or you find an agent, I would suggest having a detailed conversation with a mortgage professional. So you could do that over online, which is maybe a 1 to 2 minute conversation, but I actually recommend a 30-minute conversation so that you get into the deeper, you have the chance to get into the deeper issues to understand.
Yeah, and again, this is where kind of the team approach kind of kicks in, whereby we've got all this kind of in-house that we could help you with that conversation, then bring you to a mortgage professional, and then find someone as talented as Laura to, to help you kind of seal the deal. So I guess in closing, what would you, if we've got clients, listening in and thinking about buying their first home, what should they start to do or start to think about now?
Well, contacting you, having that first conversation.
The check is in the mail.
Yeah. Having that first conversation about your finances, getting your credit score nice and strong, perhaps. So building up, and if you are a couple of years out, this is the best time to start preparing. You may think it may never happen, but if you don't start somewhere, it's not going to happen. So contact Pierre or someone like Pierre, and have those conversations about finances, what impacts the rate, the mortgage rate you might get, and a variety of other things that we've talked about today. And that will kick you off. And then you can work towards making sure that you have the team in place that you need and want, including all of these factors, and you'll be ready.
Yeah, and again, talking about team. So this week we're looked at from the real estate agent point of view. Our next podcast, we're going to look at what you've talked about, talking to a mortgage agent, right? So we will have mortgage advisors to kind of guide you as to exactly what you could expect the mortgage rates to be. And stay tuned. We will also have another webinar about the whole process. We'll bring back Laura. I mean, I'm just putting this to you right now. Hopefully you will be available to come back and we'll. Excellent. So we'll have a webinar, real estate webinar at the end of the month. So stay tuned. Between Dollars and Dreams, please like and subscribe. And if you like to deal with Laura, just her information will be at the bottom, so please connect with Laura if you're in the western part of GTA or any part of GTA. I know Laura will travel, so it doesn't really matter where you're looking for. Laura will be available. So thank you, and I hope that you found this session informative, and we'll see you next time. Thank you again.